A very good evening to you on this 23rd day of July 2023. Trust you're doing well and that you're enjoying your weekend. We have a lot of stories lined up for you on KUTV Weekend Live. But first, let's take a look at our headlines. Our Corina sector calling for dialogue between the government and opposition as Kenya Kwanza leaders urge ODIDA to end the anti-government protest. President Ruto condemns Azimio protest, says demos will not bring down the cost of living. DP Gachagua to address the UN summit on financing food systems on Monday in Rome, Italy. And in sports, Kenya's Daniel Wanyonyi beats Tanzania's Karim Mtukazi Mandonga. All right, Ruth Shepkoech is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Anne ODIDA. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, Akorino leaders from Laikipia County are calling upon President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga to embrace dialogue to bring an end to the anti-government protests. Leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza government have also criticized the demos, saying it will not bring down the cost of living.
Leaders and followers of the Akorino in Laikipia County now want the opposition to call off its demonstrations as they urge for dialogue between the ruling Kenya Kwanza side and Azimio la Umoja.
Tungeomba tukuwe na amani, kama niyo maandamano waende wasuluhishe hiyo maandamano huko wa viongozi, ndio sasa tuwe na amani katika nchi yetu. Sisi tunaomba tuwe tuna amani katika nchi yetu.
Elsewhere, while speaking at Chania Boys High School in Thika, Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro, a close ally to President William Ruto, criticized former President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying the former head of state is funding the ongoing opposition protests barely a day after Kenyatta dismissed the allegations.
Tafadhali mimi nakuuliza, wachana na hii gang ya maandamano na kuharibu mali ya umma. Wachana na hawa watu wanakupeleka katika maneno ya kuweka sufuria kwa kichwa. Sisi tutaendelea kuheshimu wewe, rais wetu ambaye amestaafu. Na ndio maana tunakuuliza kwa heshima, wacha kupea hawa watu wa kuandamana pesa. Wacha kuwapea pesa.
While Nyoro insisted that the government will not allow chaotic demonstrations, Chania Boys Principal Julius Muraya and Kenya Private Schools Association Chair in Thika West Mary Kirika called for negotiation between government and Azimio. Castigating the chaotic demos, Muraya says they could set a bad precedent to the young generation.
When this violence is shown in the TV, in the print media, and everywhere else, it gets into the mind of these runners. And what comes thereafter comes to us as education managers.
Kenya Kwanza headliners in Embu County want the demonstrations to end, with Mbeere North legislator Geoffrey Ruku opposing the protests, saying he will push his bill that seeks to regulate demonstrations, which if passed, will see those engaging in outlawed assembly jailed for 1 year.
A bill in Parliament which is seeking to put into effect Article 37 of our Constitution. Article 37 of our Constitution has two conditions. One, demonstrations and picketing, presentation of petition to public authorities and assemblies must be done in a very peaceful manner as well as in a very unarmed manner. We have to put those two conditions into effect.
Despite the loss of lives, leaving many injured, destruction of property, and disruption of business activities, Azimio Coalition maintains demonstrations resume on Wednesday this week, the government deeply criticizing these and has taken a tough stand to control the protests. Mutweri Eliud, KUTV.
Now, owing to the prevailing political unrest in the country, Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi has noted that there is urgent need for reconciliation between President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga in order to bring back the country's sanity. He also says that as much as it is the citizens' constitutional right to demonstrate, it should be done in an orderly manner to prevent loss of lives, and destruction of property. The deputy governor also dismissed claims that Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka was under house arrest.
Mheshimiwa, I can assure you, our leader, our party leader, wherever he is very much okay. He's being engaged both internally and externally. Internationally, he's being engaged. Why? We want our leaders to talk, we want our leaders to meet, we want our leaders to discuss so that the cost of living can come down. The cost of living will come down through dialogue.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has reiterated that he will not condone violent protests in the country. The president has instructed the police service to protect lives and public property amid the opposition-led protests that are aimed towards having the cost of living brought down. Ruto was speaking at a church service in Taita Taveta County, where he also acceded to a petition by Taita Taveta County to have a quarter of revenues raised by the Tsavo National Park allocated to the devolved unit.
President William Ruto, while attending a church service at Taita Taveta County, called out the opposition protest on the cost of living, saying that the high cost of living can only be reduced by investing in agriculture and manufacturing and not by incitement and violence.
Wale wanashindana sisi wanasema ati njia ya kubadilisha bei ya chakula ati ni kufanya maandamano na kuvaa sufuria kwa kichwa. Munieleze watu ya Taita Taveta, hata kwa uganga ama uchawi ama hata dawa itabadilika unga namna gani iteremke chini ati kwa sababu umevaa sufuria kwa kichwa?
The president also noted that the police will continue to do their due diligence to protect and guard the law, urging the youths not to be deceived in fighting the police.
Our security agencies, in accordance with the law, in accordance with the constitution, must enforce the rule of law and must enforce the law, making sure that we do it professionally and we do it firmly and decisively.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who was also in attendance, called out the opposition for what he termed as using their communities as a shield to practice violence.
There are people who have now specialized in using their communities as a shield to buttress their evil desires and their greed. We should not allow that to happen.
While responding to a petition by Taita Taveta Governor Andrew Mwadime on Tsavo National Park, the head of state directed the Ministry of Wildlife and the Kenya Wildlife Service to develop a matrix for the implementation of the new directive that will see Taita Taveta retain 50% of revenue generated by the park.
Nyinyi na watu wa KWS na wizara yetu ya utalii ambayo inahusikana na hiyo maneno, tutaketi chini. Zile pesa zinapatikana kutoka National Park hapa. Kama ni milioni 700 tugawe katikati.
President Ruto has also urged leaders not to embarrass the country to the international communities with protests. This comes a day after the Azimio la Umoja coalition announced that the anti-government protests will continue next week on Wednesday. Ruth Wanjiru, for KU TV.
A section of persons living with disability in Embu have decried marginalization in governance and employment opportunities in successive governments. The group, dubbed Community of Disabled Persons of Embu County, are calling on the government to implement the Disability Act of 2003 that gives them the opportunity to develop together with other citizens in attainment of an all-inclusive government.
Community of Disabled Persons of Embu County, through a press briefing, have affirmed that people living with disabilities have been sidelined in appointments to political offices, employment opportunities, and tender awards. The community also say that they have been excluded in identification, planning, implementation, and evaluation of development projects right from the ward level.
Tuna request the Embu County government wakuwe inclusive na watrain the officials. Tunataka kufeel tunadhaminika kama walemavu.
Speaking during a press briefing in Embu town, Group Chairman of Codpec Nyaga Sianyaga, on behalf of the people living with disabilities in Embu, made the recommendations to the county government, including equalization of opportunities, implementation of affirmative action for people living with disabilities, implementation of Public Participation Act and Disability Act 2003, accessibility of early childhood development education to children living with disabilities, and training of all county staff in disability equity and inclusion services.
Training of all county staff in disability equity and inclusion. This will contribute to the provision of accessible services to all citizens, including persons with disabilities. Enact a county disability bill and related policies to give inclusion legal grounding in the county.
Nyaga Sianyaga, Chairman Codpec, and Winfred Wanja, Member Codpec, highlighted that training of county staff in disability equity and inclusion will greatly contribute towards provision of accessible services to all citizens. Salma Swaleh, KUTV.
All right, we are taking a very fast short break at this point. When we come back, we will be coming back with agribusiness, so stay with us.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
To knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Bari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with our coverage. Now, this week on Agribusiness, Kenya's seed company, in partnership with Simlo Seed Company, have introduced new indigenous vegetable varieties which are nutritious and with less acidic levels in a bid to reduce rampant cases of lifestyle diseases. The new varieties of Chinese spinach, spinach matumbo, and managu, amongst other vegetable varieties, have been described to have high nutritional value, as Dorothy Musyoka reports.
During a 3-day agricultural show at Njukiri Showgrounds in Embu County, Kenyans have been urged to embrace indigenous vegetables, including Chinese spinach, spinach matumbo, managu, amongst other vegetable varieties, as they have been described to have a high nutritional value. The Kenya Seed Company chairperson Wangoi Gireshi has encouraged Kenyans to embrace the habit of consuming more vegetables. Wangoi added that the new varieties and indigenous vegetables will help curb lifestyle diseases such as cancer.
Hamasisha wa Kenya wajaribu tu waweze kutumia hizi spinach ambazo ni traditional na zile ambazo tumakuza kwa nyumba, ndio waweze kuepukana na hizo cancer na hizo diseases za sukari na hata blood pressure, hizo ambazo ni uncommunicable diseases.
David Kiplagat, General Manager of Simlo Seed, said that the vegetable seeds to have undergone through intensive research and they are guaranteed of health benefits to consumers.
Sasa kama kampuni tumeangalia maneno ya indigenous na nasema kama Simlo tumefurahia sana kwa sisi ndio the market leaders kwa indigenous vegetables. Tunaangalia vitu ya managu, tunaangalia black nightshade. Haya yote yako na nutrients ambayo tunajua kwa utafiti na vile tumeelezwa na wanasayansi kwamba iko na nutrients yenye inaongeza ubora wa mwili wa binadamu.
The new varieties of Chinese spinach, spinach matumbo, managu, amongst other vegetables varieties, have been described to have high nutritional value and they are less acidic.
So what we have come up with, these new varieties for us to be able to fight against acidity in the stomach and also to push to give people varieties for them to be able to have a healthy life.
Indigenous vegetables have proved to be an essential source of dietary components as they contain essential minerals and vitamins necessary for maintaining human health and strengthening resistance to disease and infection. Dorothy Musyoka, KU TV.
Now, the Embu Agricultural Show of Kenya ASK opened its doors to the public on Thursday at Njukiri Showground after a 2-year hiatus occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. The show aimed at promoting climate-smart agriculture and trade initiatives for sustainable economic development. Listen in.
The Agriculture Show of Kenya ASK is back in Njukiri Showgrounds at Embu County after a 2-year break that is said to have been occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, aiming at promoting climate-smart agriculture and trade initiatives for sustainable economic development.
Tumekaa kwa muda wa miaka 2 kama tujakuwa na maonyesho ya kilimo katika Embu, na kwa hivyo ni kama tuna bounce back kwa maonyesho ya kilimo, na kwa hivyo tunajua ya kwamba hii imeweza kutuadhiri kwa one way or another.
John Mukundi, County ASK chairman, during the first day of the Agriculture Show, says the 3-day show attracted various sectors, showcasing their products and services. Mukundi added that it was a good forum for producers and other players in the agricultural industry to interact on the latest production scales and emerging trends that will assist farmers increase production and incomes.
Show ni kitu ya maana sana kwa sababu watu wengi sana unjana wanajifundisha mambo mengi sana. Pia show huwa ya maana sababu ina provide networking kwa watu ambao wanakuanga wakitaka kuuza vitu vyao.
Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA Zone 5 Quality Assurance Manager Obedo Onduso cited that they are in the process of introducing value-added products. The agency projects officer Lucy Shege called on farmers to embrace diversification to increase source of income.
Of late tunaleta product kama zile value-added product. Tuko na chai ambayo ni blended, tumeweka tunauzia wakulima. Tuko na mitambo mpya ya kisasa ya kutengeneza orthodox teas.
We are encouraging them to, apart from relying on tea, diversify to other sources of income so that they can have more money and they can also have other things to do, because as you realize, they are only in tea between maybe for a few hours or for some few days in a week, but they also have other activities that they can do to make themselves sustainable.
This comes at a time when the government is working towards boosting agriculture, especially on coffee and tea sectors, to curb the effects of climate change and ensure food security in the country. Dorothy Musyoka, KU TV.
Farmers in regions that receive less rains have been urged to embrace new hybrid of maize that is water efficient and matures within a short period. According to the principal research scientist at Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, the new hybrid WEMA 4141 is climate change ready and can tolerate major crops diseases. WEMA, which is derived from water efficient maize for Africa, was researched for by KALRO and Africa Agricultural Technology.
Dr. Murenga Mwimali, the principal research scientist at the Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization KALRO, noted that the WEMA 4141 hybrid of maize is high yielding and the stock remained green for a long time, making it best for feeding livestock after harvesting. He also warned the farmers against recycling the maize breed, as this leads to low productivity.
When you're developing a good hybrid maize variety, you have to have the specifications. And the specifications for these the hybrids that we have is early maturing, drought tolerance, high yielding, which is more important.
Integrated Community Organization on Sustainable Empowerment and Education for Development, EcoSeed, Director Patrick Muriuki said they closely work with the agricultural research organizations to ensure they get high-value hybrid, which in turn increases food production. He says WEMA 4141 can produce between 35 to 45 bags per acre during the dry season, making it easy for areas with little rains like Mwea, Mbeere, Tharaka, parts of Murang'a, and other regions to produce sufficient food.
Hii mahindi ya WEMA maize inaweza kutoka gunia 35 mpaka gunia 45 kulingana na vile hali ya hewa iko. Kukiwa na ukame kiasi, hii mahindi inaweza kutoa up to 30 bags per acre, na ni kumaanisha wakulima wanafaa kuiadopt ili waweze kulima mahindi ambayo itapatia familia chakula cha kutoza.
Phyllis Karinga, who is a farmer, has noted that the maize breed dries faster to the standard required moisture content for millers, thus reducing cases for aflatoxin. Daniel Magondu, who is the chairman of EcoSeed and a farmer, has called upon the government to recognize farmers by setting aside a national day where they are given opportunity to meet all stakeholders and share challenges as well as make proposals. Kadari Chari reporting for KU TV.
All right, that's an indication that it's time for sports. Now, in a boxing rematch that took place yesterday at Sarit Expo Center in Nairobi, Kenya's Daniel Wanyonyi beat Tanzania's Karim Tukazi Mandonga in the non-title super middleweight match. Wanyonyi dominated the match from the 4th round before taking out Mandonga in the 6th and 10th round. Daniel Wanyonyi knocked off Mandonga twice before winning by a unanimous decision. It was a welcome respite for Wanyonyi, who had lost to Mandonga when the two had faced each other in January 14 this year. All right, that's a wrap for KUTV Weekend Live. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company. Be sure to join me again tomorrow for Money Monday, inshallah. My name is Ann Odida. I'm in the company of Ruth Chepkoech, sign language interpreter tonight. Have yourself a good night.